Did I turn on my video? Boom, there it is.
Good afternoon. This is the back roads of Illinois. I am Cesar Delgado with Adam Johnson from New York City for Bullseye's Brief Company. Good day,
Hey, Cesar.
Adam. How are you today?
Oh, thanks for asking. I'm doing great. Um, it was a wonderful July 4th. We actually had fireworks here in New York City. We thought they were going to be canceled because of the rain, but the rain held off. So it was a great night to celebrate friends and this great country we live in, and I'm feeling good.
Adam, could you explain to the audience about your own trading in Manhattan?
Yeah, I'd love to. So in 2016, I founded my investment letter, Bullseye Brief. And what I wanted to do, Caesar, was bring hedge fund quality research to people managing their own money, trading stocks at Charles Schwab or TD Ameritrade or anywhere else. It's very hard for people trying to manage their own money, whether on an iPhone or from home or wherever else, to have access to high quality research. And so I wanted to take the expertise that I had developed over 25 years working on Wall Street and put that into a format that would be accessible for everyone every day. And so that's why I created Bullseye Brief. I love what I do. I'm a growth investor, and my focus is on what I call American ingenuity, the people, companies, and technologies that are driving our world forward. So robotics, automation, electric vehicles, clean energy, mobility, artificial intelligence, all that kind of stuff that's exciting, that is admittedly not unique to America. Countries around the world are doing it, but I just think we do it better. Those are the types of companies that I'm exploring. I write a new stock pick every week, and I publish on Sunday morning for my subscribers. So that's Bullseye Brief.
Do you think that we are going to have a recession for the next couple months or next year?
No, I don't, Caesar. And I've been saying that for a long time. And admittedly, a lot of people thought I was crazy because they didn't believe me and they thought that I was just too positive. But no, I don't think we're going to have a recession. And in fact, the GDP numbers that came out last week suggested that we're growing 2%, which was better than the estimate of 1.3%. So, I would say to all the bears out there, how can you have a recession, meaning shrinking GDP, when the most recent indications for GDP are that it's actually growing faster than we thought? And given that corporate revenues are at all-time highs, employment is at all-time highs, and the Fed is probably done or almost done raising rates, I think we're in good shape, and we're in better shape than most people think. So I don't think we're going to have a recession. I don't agree with the bears, and I think that's why stocks are up this year.
Yeah. Tell me what is different from Chicago Board of Trade and Wall Street in New York City.
Yeah, you bet. They're different in a number of ways, and I could probably also point to a couple of similarities, but the primary difference is that the Chicago Board of Trade trades commodities, whereas Wall Street tends to focus on stocks and bonds. And as a former oil trader, I used to do, oh, I love it. I'm seeing pictures of cows. Yeah, now you're talking. That's Chicago Board of Trade, right? You know, cows and corn and soybeans. I mean, oil's traded here in New York on the Merc, but you know, commodities are the stuff of the Midwest, right? And I came from Iowa. My family was in the dairy business for a long time, so I love all that. But in New York, everyone talks about stocks. No one here really talks about cows or soybeans. They all talk about stocks and bonds and banking and interest rates. And admittedly, it's probably it's it's not quite as cool because you can't talk combines and tractors. But you know, I do love it because it gets me plugged into all these exciting technologies. So, you know, New York's about stocks, Chicago's about commodities. That's kind of the way I think about it.
Yeah. However, we are the Midwest kids.
Yes, we are Midwest kids. And I was born in Chicago, by the way. So my family's from Iowa. They were dairy farmers. I was born in Chicago because my mom and dad were the first ones to leave the farm. And, you know, they did what good Midwesterners do who want to go to the city. They go to Chicago. And yeah, I love Chicago. It's an awesome town. And then of course I, you know, ended up coming to New York to be closer to Wall Street. So I was just in I was in Upper Michigan, up by the Canadian border, with a whole bunch of great Midwesterners this weekend for the 4th of July. So it's good to connect to the Midwest.
What is your opinion on the feds?
Yeah, you know, I actually give the Federal Reserve probably higher marks than most. I think they've actually done a pretty good job. And I know that they let inflation run hot. They probably should have started raising rates a long time ago. They waited too long. And that's in part why they had to raise rates so high. And when they raised rates so high, that crushed stocks and bonds. So, you know, people hate them for that. But you know, admittedly, we were coming out of COVID, and we kind of needed all the help we could get. So they kept rates low. Okay, fine. They kept them low for too long, but inflation is coming down. And I mean, think of it, producer prices were rising 11.7%. Now they're only rising 1%. And even though inflation is still high at 4%, inflation was up at 9. So it is coming down. The rate hikes have had an effect because they've kept things in check. We seem to be getting past the point where the Fed needs to keep raising. I mean, I think they're kind of done, even though they've told us they're going to raise one more time, maybe two. But the economy is still so strong that it suggests to me, Caesar, that we actually are going to have the, you know, quote unquote, soft landing that everyone thought was totally impossible, because how could we have a soft landing? The Fed will blow it like they always do. No, they're not blowing it. They did what they had to do, and the economy is still very resilient. And I think again, that's why stocks are up this year. The economy's strong, and I think we will have a soft landing. So, again, to answer your question, I think the Fed's done a pretty good job. Not perfect, but pretty good.
Finally, what is the interest rate on next couple months?
So the 10-year yield has been pegged pretty close to 3.75% for several months now. Okay, it'll go up to 4 or down to 350, but it's pretty much pegged around 375. And if it stays at 375, I'm okay with that. I mean, sure, it'd be nice if rates went down a little bit, but the fact that they're no longer going up and that we have certainty means that you can actually make calculations going out a year or two and say, okay, fine, we'll fix our interest costs at 3.75%. And at least with that kind of certainty, you can make decisions about the future. I guess the more direct answer to your question is, where do I think rates are going? I think they might come down a little bit and migrate towards 3.5. I also think that the short-term rates, like 1 month and 2 year rates, will start to migrate back down towards 4 and 375. In other words, I don't think the yield curve will stay inverted, which is good because that's not healthy. I think stuff's headed in the right direction. I don't mean to sound so positive, like everything's great, because nothing's ever always great. But I do think we've been through a lot and we're making a lot of progress. And I feel a lot better about where we're going than where we've been.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
Yep. I think so too. It's pretty good. It's like I said, it's remember Wayne Gretzky, the great hockey player? You skate to where the puck is going, not where the puck is. And where we're going is better than where we've been.
I don't like to watch hockey, but I'm a big fan of Cubs.
Love it. Chicago Cubs, the Cubbies. How can you not be a fan of the Cubs? Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Caesar.
Thanks for coming to my podcast. Is there anything would you like to go to talk with the audience about this quarter in the markets?
Yeah, I'll leave you with one final note, Caesar, and that is that I think the world is still way too negative. You were asking me about the difference between the Board of Trade and Wall Street. Well, one of the things that I look at is the CFTC, Commodity Futures Trading Commission, biweekly, or I should say bi-monthly commitment of traders reports, which shows you all the net long and short positions. And in the most recent CFTC commitment of traders reports, the net short position in S&P 500 stock futures was almost as negative as it's ever been. Ever. More negative now than in 2008 and 2000. So there's a lot of negativity. There are a lot of shorts. And I think as all these people begin to realize the world is better than they think, they're going to have to cover. And when they cover, that'll send markets higher. So I'm very positive, and I really think we've turned the corner, Caesar.
Thanks for coming over. This is Adam Johnson from New York City for Bullseye's Brief Company. You've been listening to Back Roads of Illinois. I am Cesar Delgado.